Cooper Howard entertains guests at his daughter Janie's birthday party, posing children atop Sugarfoot. Partygoers comment on his gig to pay alimony. Radio newscasts report collapsed negotiations in Anchorage and the president's absence against the nuclear specter. Mr. Handy serves as Cooper explains the thumb test from the Marines to measure blast clouds. Janie questions the larger clouds, signaling that there is no escape. Mushroom clouds expand beyond thumbs as explosions erupt. Lucy McLean records an application to the Council for the triennial trade with Vault-32 as breeder. She details repair, science, speech skills, gymnastics, fencing, phys ed, riflery, walks, movies, gardening, and book club. Reproductive organs intact despite cousin relations. Rose adjusts her wedding dress, reminiscing about Bert's haste. Hank calls Lucy Sugar Bomb, recalls marrying her mother despite fears outside Vault 31. Norm notes husband anonymity concerns. Hank welcomes Vault 32, led by Lee Moldaver, for the trade of seeds and parts for breeder Monty. Lucy exchanges vows with Monty. Hank toasts marriage, dropping surface radiation in favor of recolonization by the next generation. Guests cheer hope over a mean world. Dancing follows toasts accompanied by bonding speeches. Lucy shows Monty quarters, envisioning family moments with hand-me-downs. They undress and consummate marriage. Breathing occurs with screams. Monty reveals surface raider origins. Lucy stabs Monty during an assault. Knife slashes pierce flesh as alarms blare. Moldaver confronts Hank and offers a choice before capturing him, despite Lucy's pleas. Assembly rejects surface search for Hank, prioritizing Vault security. Lucy proposes a 4-person team for 2 weeks. Norm suspects power motives. Lucy tranks Chet, overrides controls. Betty shouts warnings as the Vault door yields to the wasteland. Felix trains Brotherhood aspirants, identifying pre-war tech. Maximus fails the circuit test. Dane was injured in hazing. Maximus was interrogated, but accepted Squire to Titus, who was hunting an Enclave fugitive with an object. Bounty hunters dig a ghoul from a grave, testing it with a chicken for the Moldaver bounty in California. Ghoul kills hunters, claiming the last job. Dogs whine as a puppy yelps during examination by a doctor who deems CX-404 good and approves it. Handlers repeatedly command the puppy to sit and enter the bed as it whimpers. A man activates a device on his arm, groaning and panting as CX-404 whines. He reassures the dog. An intruder triggers alarms. CX-404 growls ferociously, crunches bones while victims scream, then escapes with the man as guards urge haste. Radroaches growl, chitter, bark at, and shriek toward Lucy by her fire after dark. A narration recounts pre-war cockroach survival jokes, their enlarged thoraxes, extended antennae for pack hunting, and incisors for larger prey. An older man warns Lucy that Vault dwellers endanger themselves seeking Moldaver, who kidnapped her father. Surface life ignores rules and demands adaptation to become a different animal. He calls 4 to him. Lord Titus, in a T-60 with a tempered lining, arrives by vertibird, with the Squire, tracking man, and dog. Squire enters a building, unleashing an irradiated bear roar. It crushes Titus as he shouts panicked curses and futile shots. Dying Titus rants to Maximus about wasteland perils, Squire failures, clerics' missions, and Brotherhood duties before expiring. Maximus claims the armor. Maximus in armor halts a farmer who is throttling a man caught violating chickens as screams and blows ring out. The man thanks the knight profusely and flees, decrying persecution. The farmer apologizes, citing the offense. Maximus orders him onward. Lucy navigates the Philly market clamor, but queries vendors about Moldaver without success. Ma June mocks the Vault dwellers' pristine features, reveals Moldaver notoriety, and warns of surface brutality. Doctor recounts Vault 33 details like corn crops and meritocracy, urging Lucy home. Ghoul demands Wilzig. Ma June bounties Wilzig. Ghoul slaughters as gunshots and chaos erupt. Lucy politely de-escalates against Ghoul. Maximus, in armor, demands a stand-down. Lucy shelters Wilzig as Ghoul pursues, and Maximus crashes into a suit. Ma June directs Lucy to Moldaver via shithole with Wilzig's head after his cyanide ingestion. A man grunts while a villain pleads for mercy. Cooper recites an old Mexican eulogy describing him as ugly, strong, and formal, but delivers only 2 of the 3 qualities. The director calls, cut after Cooper questions killing and reveals Bob's firing for communism, urging a new Western emphasizing individual power and personal code, where Cooper shoots Jorge in the head. Cooper shares lavender taffy with his wife and daughter, Janie, describing its flirtatious taste like the first touch, leading to a kiss blamed on makeup, then lipstick. They pose for a photographer in tight blue suits designed to shield them from radiation. A man coughs and spits while CX-404 whimpers, searching wasteland remains. Knight Titus reports an attack by an abomination, killing his squire honorably to Petty Officer Shortsight, refusing replacement. In Filthington, locals repair Titus's gear for caps before fighting over armor, which Titus reclaims with grunts and beatings. Thaddeus vows to protect Knight Titus and relays the Elder Cleric's orders to seize the target controlling the wasteland, killing obstacles. Norman admits to helping his sister escape the vault, risking all, and receives punishment for lacking enthusiasm across jobs. Norman feeds violent prisoners snacks while they threaten him. Thaddeus climbs a dead tree seeking apples for Titus, shares Fly Farm past as shitter and bullying recruits, including a prior squire. Ghoul tortures captive woman using rad meter bait for Gulper despite studies proving ineffectiveness. Retrieves head from creature after dog assists fight. Ghoul sidetracks from the head quest with the woman. Council debates rehabilitating raiders through education like Shakespeare, despite Norm's kill proposal, which is interrupted by water chip destruction, leaving a 2-month supply. Maximus and Thaddeus track the abomination trail to the Gulper fight in the water, saving each other before CX-404 delivers ahead. Cooper awkwardly shoots a Vault-Tec ad in a blue suit, praising their work. The ghoul confronts Roger, who snarls and repeatedly declares his name as the turning symptoms intensify. Lucy pants nearby as Roger attacks. The ghoul shoots Roger, confirming his extended wasteland survival without enough vials. He eats Roger's remains while Lucy protests the cannibalism, citing her vault's starvation resistance. The ghoul chuckles, asserting that everyone breaks ideals in desperation. Reg greets Woody near recruitment posters and checks the chained captive. They question his identity and Vault 32 kidnapping motives, receiving silence. The captive bashes his head, prompting trank consideration. A woman offers Norm a piece of pie while he discusses his anger over his father's absence. She reveals that she hid during the raid and urges him to tread lightly. The ghoul coughs as yodeling music plays and radiation peaks near ruins. Lucy gulps irradiated matter, feeling sick, while the ghoul mocks her golden rule. She grunts to escape, stabbing a feral. The ghoul praises her killer instinct and questions the rule's application. Lucy pants in terror from snarls. Chet visits Steph, mourning Bert via his shoes and doll. Steph sobs over the doll, engaging it sexually while moaning. The ghoul demands 2-month vials, trading near-mint female Lucy. An attendant must perform a physical evaluation before buzzing her in. Snip Snip, a General Atomics Mark IV robot, reattaches Lucy's finger with a suitable replacement. Lucy requests a cotton dressing, shocked by the availability of real fabric. Snip Snip reveals her intent to harvest organs, prompting her distress. Norm confronts Veronica over cake orders and taunts the captive about Vault 32 guilt. Norm and Chet explore Vault 32 and find the remains of bodies from years prior. A TV depicts the collapse of a mouse utopia due to overpopulation and cannibalism. Lucy poisons syringes with Abraxo draining fluid, demanding the release of captives, including Huey, Squirrel, and ghouls. She frees Martha, who snarls her name repeatedly. Norm logs Vault 32 door opened via his mother's Pip-Boy. Lucy rejects turning into the ghoul despite symptoms. He departs with vials. Thaddeus recounts ripping a creature inside out and expresses admiration for Maximus's actions during the fight. He insists Maximus brands him as Squire, reciting the sacred duty to protect the Brotherhood and Knight Titus. Maximus complies, searing the brand as Thaddeus screams, and they celebrate as the T-Boys plan their return with the target. Maximus reveals his actual name, and that Titus is dead, prompting Thaddeus to lock him in the T-60 suit without the fusion core and seize the head. Maximus fights a radroach, squealing and crunching under his efforts. He calls out, and Lucy arrives, recognizing him from Philly. She frees him manually after he provides Radaway from his armor sleeve for her radiation sickness. They discuss her quest for the head via the Pip-Boy tracker and his need to retrieve it from Thaddeus. Lucy proposes they travel together, sharing the tracker for his Brotherhood to aid in rescuing her father. Norm and Chet explore Vault 32, surrounded by dead bodies, noting a failed entry to Room 31. Betty campaigns via PA for Overseer on Reclamation Day, emphasizing Vault civilization's future. Marianne announces Betty's 98% election victory as she steps into Hank McLean's shoes to cheers. Residents vote, with Davy supporting Betty's experience. Lucy questions Maximus about post-war history, learning of failed civilizations like the NCR in the Shady Sands ruins. They debate Vault naivety and surface dangers. Encountering Javin and Rink, tensions rise over arms. Lucy counts to 3 for raised hands, but gunshots erupt in an ambush. Fiends shoot Maximus, labeling them people-eaters. He insists on pursuing the head despite wounds, rejecting aid. Lucy examines his graze, turning severe, and enters a structure for supplies as he calls after her. Alarms blare as Maximus searches through flashing lights and screams. Betty leads a vault-wide Vault 32 tour, announcing resettling with Vault 31's aid as sacred spaces fill. Norm confronts Betty about his mother's Pip-Boy, which she and his father buried. They arrive in a vault deemed the world's best place. Cooper Howard introduces himself as the star of stage and screen inside the model Vault 4. He tours the underground burg with modern amenities, lead casing against rads and reds, and the Sycamore Street corridor for neighbors. He meets scientists Lloyd and Cassandra Hawthorne, who specialize in radiation effects on human DNA and lead a community governed by scientists in a 5-year trial. Post-filming, Cooper meets Bud Askins from Vault-Tec, formerly West-Tec, overseeing HR, RD, and workflow optimization. Bud emphasizes scale in 4 dimensions, declaring time the ultimate weapon and management the future of humanity. At a home party, Cooper chats with Seabass, laments lost movie over ads, and blames Hollywood Reds like Charlie Whiteknife. Seabass sold vocal rights to a spinning robot for minimal pay, predicts products over Hollywood, and toasts the future. Dr. Edmondson treats injured Titus in Vault 4, removes a tooth from the shoulder, and insists the recovery stay as surface foragers retrieve armor. Lucy and Titus enter quarantine. Overseer Benjamin welcomes, warns off Level 12, mentions foosball sign-up, and bathrooms. Goosey McLean mocks surface dwellers from Shady Sands, avoiding Level 12 talk. Cooper argues with Barb about quitting showbiz for the ranch and questions Vault-Tec's policy excluding dogs as inefficient. Barb defends her job, securing a special management vault spot, and prioritizes survival over freedoms like dogs or jumpsuits. Sorrel Booker recognizes Ghoul Cooper Howard, a former bounty hunter, for wrecking Super Duper Mart under protection. Troy loses guns, fed to hogs. Cult chants for Flame Mother, bring back Shady Sands with ashes, blood must spill. Lucy urges Titus to flee insanity, interrupts the ritual as a fan recognizes Mr. Howard, and the alarm sounds during the struggle. She declares the residents crazy. Adam announces his arrival home as the wind whistles. Footsteps approach as Ghoul thanks Darling and laughs at the misunderstanding with Sandra before sending her outside. Ghoul questions Adam about lead farming and family and reveals knowledge of Rufus and Tommy from the envelope detailing caps for a courier transporting an Enclave defector to the madwoman Moldaver. Tommy confesses a desire to build beyond dirt digging, but Adam urges him to reveal under threat of his sister's life. Tommy locates her at the observatory. Ghoul departs, warning Tommy of a future confrontation. Miss Williams rallies the crowd around the California Dream, critiques the lies about the atomic bomb and the enemy in power. Coop interrupts with principles against ideology, defends Vault-Tec's earnings. Miss Williams reveals an acquaintance with her wife through an acquired research company developing cold fusion, which Vault-Tec's business model suppresses. She hands a listening device for spying on her wife. Coop declines before departing. Monitor beeps as residents confront an intruder for the Level 12 experiments on women. Overseer plays a holotape of Overseer Hawthorne defending scientist governance during a revolt by a hybridized, radiation-resistant species that kills Cassandra. Creatures roar. Residents sentence the intruder violently, dragging her away. Thaddeus groans in pain from a foot bite, arguing with CX-404 over possessions as the dog whines and scratches. He creates a dog with a window for a mission to the radio tower, contacting Brotherhood for glory over radio chatter. Birdie leads survivor chant. Can clatter. Sneeze reveals hidden threat banished to surface with supplies. Lucy pleads for Maximus to stay a good person. He admits to stealing a fusion core-powered armor, returns it despite losing his knighthood to avert community destruction. Armor powers down. Lucy shares Vault marriage failure, invites Titus to Vault 33. He reveals his actual name, Maximus, watched Knight Titus die to take armor and threw acid on the innocent. She reaffirms the invitation. He agrees. Thaddeus trades a fusion core to the doctor for foot-healing serum while gagging and laughing. Vault 33 announces the repopulation of Vault 32. Norm suspects poisoning and calls Chet a coward for fleeing. A cleric scans Maximus in Knight Titus's armor with a whirring device, finding no artifact. Quintus questions Maximus about the repeated misfortunes befalling his company, learning that Titus died while running. Maximus groans and pleads to lead Quintus to the real head, confessing his self-inflicted injury. Quintus praises the loyalty, spares Maximus, and proposes they seize power together to forge a new brotherhood with himself at the head and Maximus as its sword. Barb thanks Cooper for the ride after his failed oil change, expresses love, and departs. Cooper grunts as she fixes her Pip-Boy, which transmits strangely. Bud suggests IT repairs, but Barb insists on self-fixing and leaves for a training program meeting. Bud explains his Bud's program to Cooper, aiming to sustain projects for centuries through junior executives, then departs with Barb. Lucy reunites with captive Hank as a snarling ghoul watches. Moldaver welcomes her civilly after considering violence. Lucy demands Hank's return for the ghoul, but Moldaver reveals Hank's pre-Vault origins and Vault-Tec ties. Norm enters a vault, interacts with robots that fail to record speeches, learns he shares only 50% of Hank's DNA, and injects a serum before discovering secrets. Bud pitches interconnected vaults to executives as survival experiments, emphasizing their ability to outlast surface threats over time. Executives propose overcrowding, robots, super mutants, drugs, and separations for breeding supermanagers. Barb advocates competition across vaults for perfect humanity conditions and suggests dropping bombs themselves to secure a monopoly. Young Hank meets Cooper as a fan. Moldaver recounts Rose discovering surface civilization, fleeing, Hank burning Shady Sands, and taking the children. Lucy recognizes Cold Fusion's potential for equitable power. Hank urges disbelief. Hank reluctantly provides the code, and the device whirs and beeps. Norm learns Vault-Tec's plan and is confined to a pod by Bud. Hank justifies choices for vault peace over surface chaos as Brotherhood vertibirds assault while sirens wail. Hank escapes in a pod. Lucy refuses to join. The ghoul pursues Hank, confronting his Vault-Tec role. Maximus wakes as a knight to cheers. Troops hail Knight Maximus repeatedly.